Real quick here, I want to talk about these NBA playoffs. I want to go through the series that we're getting in the first round. I actually really like this slate of postseason games we got, so let's run them through. Let's start with the games we're getting tomorrow. First, we're getting Celtics Knicks at noon, my time, and I'm fascinated by this series for some pretty obvious reasons. You know, the Kevin Garnett, Carmelo Anthony rivalry. This is, I don't know if it's one of the fiercest rivalries in the NBA, but it's a solid one. And I like the potential that the Celtics have to frustrate some of the things that the Knicks do and make it hard for them. But ultimately, I don't think the Celtics have the horses to win 4 games in a series. I mean, you look across the court, you've got a legitimate superstar in Carmelo Anthony, and you know, at the Celtics side, I'm not a Rajon Rondo fan. I think he's vastly overrated, but he is the kind of player that gives the Celtics a great chance to beat anybody. And without him, I think there's a definite ceiling on what they can do. So my prediction would be Knicks in 6 games. Next up, Warriors Nuggets. Nuggets have home court in this series. I really don't know what to make of this series. The Nuggets don't have Gallinari. He's obviously going to be out until next year, and that's a significant blow because he's a good all-around player. But the Warriors, who started the season fantastically, really fell off. And if you look at how good the Denver Nuggets are at home this year, they've only lost 3 home games all year. It's tough to imagine the Warriors managing to win 1 game in Denver, which is obviously what they would need to do. And while the Warriors are the best defensive rebounding team in the league, I believe, you know, the Nuggets are a fantastic offensive rebounding team, so that's an interesting battle that I see playing out. And ultimately, I can't go against the Nuggets' home court advantage, so I'm going to say Nuggets in 6. That sounds fair. Bulls, Nets. Nets have a home court. This is a fascinating series. The Nets are clearly the more talented team in this series. They have, you know, the better players. They have the more high-profile players, but the Bulls just play so hard, man. You know, losing their star player. They've had all kinds of injuries this year. They've lost Noah for stretches. They've lost Gibson for stretches. I know Deng has been hurt here and there. They've really had to play with their lineups back and forth, but they have scrapped out a 45-win season, and nobody wants to deal with them. So, you know, the Nets, they play a very vanilla style of basketball. They are about as good as you would expect if you look at their roster, but the Bulls just gut it out. So in respect to the way the Bulls have gutted out this season, I'm going to say Bulls in 7. But, you know, if Joakim Noah is even a little bit injured and it affects his game in any way, then that's enough to spin this series to the Nets side. So, in my opinion, this is a very close series. Grizzlies, Clippers. Clippers get the home court by a tiebreaker. And this series is fascinating to me. These teams don't like each other. These teams had a great battle last year, and I think we're in for a real battle, and I think one of these teams, whoever wins this series, is the only team that could beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in a series. So, as for who I like, I like Tony Allen to hound Chris Paul all series. I think he's going to limit Chris Paul's game, and I think because of that, the Grizzlies are going to win the series in 6 games. And I think it'll come down to better coaching and the services of Tony Allen guarding Chris Paul. And the Grizzlies now have Tayshaun Prince in place of Rudy Gay. And you'll remember Rudy Gay was terrible last year in the playoffs. All right, so moving to Sunday, we've got the Hawks at the Pacers. I don't think anybody's that excited for this series, but it's got to be, you know, the Pacers. They've got the best defense in the league. They've got a tremendous... They've done a tremendous job of playing basketball without Danny Granger. Tremendous job of working all these players into their lineup and getting great minutes out of them. Guys like Lance Stephenson. Just a tremendous job by Frank Vogel And, you know, Atlanta had a decent year, obviously, but they're a team that I think even they have to know they're in transition, that they're just waiting to basically rebuild around Al Horford because Josh Smith probably isn't coming back. And they strike me as a team that needs some kind of reinvigoration, and I just don't see much energy from that team. Lakers, I'm sorry, so with that in mind, Pacers in 5. And I don't, did I give my series prediction for Grizzlies Clippers? Yeah, I did. Okay, it was Grizzlies in 6. Right, okay, Lakers Spurs. Spurs have home court. And this was tough. I think this is going to be a fun and interesting series. The Spurs have not played well lately. They're just not doing the things that they did all year as well as they typically have. But, you know, the Lakers, they don't have Kobe. They might not have Nash. And as good as they're capable of playing without those guys, it's tough to imagine that they would be able to pull this off without 2 of their 4 best players. I really would be interested to see how this series plays out, and I would like to pick the Lakers, but I don't see it. I'm going to say Spurs in 7. I'm going to say nobody loses a home game. Next up, Bucks at Heat. You know, the Bucks are a team that has given the Heat some problems this year. The way they play can be a little difficult for the Heat to deal with, and they do a couple things that make it difficult for the Heat to play them. But there is a huge talent disparity. There is a huge quality of team disparity, and that's why I'm going to say Heat in 5. I think the Bucks will win 1 game. And last up, oh man, Rockets Thunder. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. You know, James Harden comes back to play his old team. You know, the Rockets finally get a team into the postseason. They finally have an identity. They finally have some good things going for them, but I see Oklahoma City really making a run to the finals, then not much is going to get in their way. So I'm going to say Thunder in 6, and I'm going to say James Harden explodes in at least 2 of these games, like a 40-point explosion. So that's all the series in the first round. That's all I got for now. See you guys later.